Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, I'm Carla, the Cosmic Crone, and it's time for the full moon astrology reading. Oops, I'm blinking in and out. I think I'm here though. So, how is everybody today? It just started raining and I just got all my onions planted. I am a gardener on the coast of Maine, and I offer divine feminine astrology, and I am the chief guide and founder of the School of Womb Wisdom. And I work with women to activate their divine feminine powers of sex, wealth, and voice. And we do this through teaching and retreats and deep work in divine feminine initiation and ceremony. So I am here with the Libra full moon divine feminine astrology reading. And I'm going to show you the chart. You can see all of the planets. Whoops, which way do we go? There. All the planets are still in that 1/3 of the chart between Pluto and Algol. And the moon is balancing them all. That's a ton of, the moon has so much energy. And so if we imagine the moon opposite the sun as of 2:55 in the afternoon, Searsport, Maine time, on Saturday, April 16th, the moon will be full and the sun will be at 2646 Aries, and the moon will be opposite the sun at 2646 Libra, conjunct Haumea. I'll get back to Haumea. So what happens? The moon is our emotional life, our intuitive life, our inner world, our water, our flow. Our bodies respond to the moon, the water in our bodies. We have lunar tides, all of us, male and female. And so the moon right now, this avatar of the emotions, and our nearest relatives, the one that, we can follow her courses through the sky, and we notice how she changes and she teaches us about change. And she's balancing all these planets opposite. And so one of the lessons of this new moon in Libra, the sign that we associate with balance, of the balancing, the dance of opposites, dynamism, and we think of justice, and we think of equitable distribution of everything. And we also think of emotional intelligence and stability and aliveness, because Libra, we can get very stuck in the form of Libra being balance, but always the scales are responding. They're responding to molecular shifts. Everything that sits on those scales is alive. And then I'm suddenly imagining the scales of Ma'at, who is, she's weighing the heart against a feather in Egyptian mythology. And if your heart can balance the feather, you are not coming into the afterlife with a burdened and heavy heart, then you can pass into the afterlife. You can cross the threshold, which is another theme that is developing in this new moon. So the moon is balancing all these planets and opposite the sun in Aries. And so my first impression when I saw that the moon is conjunct Haumea, that we have a flood of creativity. Haumea is the grandmother goddess of the Hawaiian people and the Polynesian island peoples, Pacific island peoples. And she is the mother of all the gods and goddesses. She is the mother of Pele. She is the mother of everyone. And she is constantly creating. She represents fertility. And she is also the goddess of childbirth. So she's connected to the womb. She's connected to creation in any form. And she's right there with the moon. So the moon, this full moon, is opening up a burst of creativity. Now, there's plenty of other things happening in the chart at the same time that augment that give you something to work with, because we do create from the void, seemingly out of nothing, and yet we plant seeds in the void. Our ideas, our desires are all seeds. And when we're creating, we use raw materials. The idea may be coming from the void, but the actual form is all around us, and we transmute and transform what is around us, the elements, the earth, the air, the fire, the water, the spirit, and we turn it into whatever it is we're creating. So this moon is opening up, and it's interesting, this is a threshold, because the moon, at the moment of the full moon on Saturday afternoon, yes, conjunct Haumea within a degree or a degree and a half or so, and yet the moon will pass fullness before it actually meets and merges with Haumea. So it's really opening up a window. And that window has already been opened by the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. And if you're following astrology, you are seeing so much about Jupiter and Neptune, and there's a whole lot of wonderful stuff being said. And honestly, I have read a little. I want to read more, but I've been living it. I have been in this soup of vision and expansion and figuring out, well, who am I? One of my great lessons is how to take up more space, because I learned as a child, as many of us did, don't take up so much space. Don't be too much, too loud, too big for your britches. It's not safe to be seen. You'll get in trouble. And I envy the people that I know for whom that was not an issue. They just flew in the face of it. They were born rebels. Or maybe their parents, their world did not work so hard to suppress their spirits. But a lot of the women my age, and within 20 years of my age, we got it real bad. School is designed to suppress spirits, and a lot of us, our parents, were trying to keep us safe. Socializing, it's one of the responsibilities, and parents are judged on their children's behavior. And anyway, we won't go too far down that rabbit hole, but here in Pisces, and I am a Pisces, so these two planets, Neptune and Jupiter, are the rulers of Pisces. So they are dipping into the void of Pisces, the mystery of the 12th house, the mystery of the dream world, of the depths of the ocean, the depths of the unconscious, the depths of the soul, which reaches all the way out to the galaxy. And those of you who've worked with me know that that's what the womb does. That is the essence of divine feminine. And so all of that is coming in, coming through, and it's expanding. Jupiter is expanding it, Jupiter is activating it, and Neptune is stirring the soup. And the soup can be cloudy, or it can be very clear. And Neptune can give you tons of ideas, and so many ideas that you just, you get paralyzed. you get, they seem to get stuck and nothing can happen. So I personally have been studying this. This has been happening in a trine to my natal Jupiter and my natal Uranus in Cancer. And the full moon happens to be transiting my natal Neptune. So Neptune is super activated for me, as is Jupiter and is Uranus. So there's so much happening inside, there's a limit to what I can take in. So I say go read some other good people about what Neptune and Jupiter means. Because your cosmic crone here is in the middle of a Neptune-Jupiter expanding, bubbling over cauldron. And I love it. I love it. Amazing things are going to come out of it. And you're probably feeling that too. Wherever Pisces is in your chart, and what other planets might be communicating with this conjunction, you are feeling that. You're feeling that expansion and that vision and stuff coming from the unconscious, and this urge to bring it into form and to see it, and everything that stirs up. And it can be alarming and frightening, and you may wonder, because the stuff that can get stirred up are the things that we don't talk about. The things you've hidden those things for a reason. But now's the time for them to come out, because this is your fertility. This is your compost. The seeds of the divine that are planted within you are growing in this atmosphere created by Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces together. So we have some other potent conjunctions. There are not that many spread out aspects like squares and trines. One trine is Ceres and Vesta. A trine, it's an air trine. Ceres is in Gemini, and Vesta is in Aquarius. Vesta is the priestess, Ceres is the earth. Nourishment. So the priestess is feeding us right now, and the priestess is doing ceremony, honoring the food. And here I am, so many of us in the northern hemisphere are planting, and if you're in the southern hemisphere, you're harvesting. So you are saying prayers over the seeds and saying thanksgiving over the fruits. And Vesta and Ceres are communicating this level of sacredness about our daily existence, our nourishment, our relationship to the earth, our relationship to everything that dwells on the earth. I think of the mycorrhizal, the bacteria, the fungi, the invisible things that are essential to our life and that live in us and move in us. The vast majority of those things do not make us sick. Dirt is healthy and healing and nourishing. And all the things that live in it, 99.9% of them are essential to our immune system, our functioning of our body, our hormones, our neurotransmitters, everything. And there are a few bad actors that turn into bad things and can make us sick or kill us, yes. But compared to the good ones, not that many. So I just say that. I say that in the middle of this because we are so focused right now on everything is a disease vector. Our loved ones can't come near us because they could be carrying that terrible virus. We're looking at everything on the planet as an invisible, lethal virus. And it doesn't matter which, quote, side you're on the various issues this brings up. The ultimate thing is that we're looking at it as something that is causing harm. And it is. It is. But it's taken all of our focus. Harm has taken all of our focus. And so it's time to shift. We are at a point where we can choose to shift from focusing on harm and damage and focusing on nourishment and focusing on passing through a portal, taking the exquisite vision and the mystery, the things we cannot see that can be delusional and confusing and obfuscating and deceptive, but ultimately pulling back the veils and saying, I can see the truth through all of this, and letting Jupiter walk you through it. And there's somebody else, there are two other major conjunctions that are walking through it. Over by the sun, actually in conjunction to the sun during this full moon, are Eris and Pallas Athene. They are exact 2410 and 2422 of Aries. And these two characters are part of the story of Eris. The main myth of Eris is that she threw the golden apple into the party, the marriage of Paris, or the wedding party. I forget who. Paris was it wasn't his wedding, but the judgment of Paris. That's what it was. So Pallas Athene was one of the goddesses that scrambled and argued over who's getting the apple, because the apple was inscribed to the fairest. Eris sows discord. She is the goddess of chaos. Wherever she goes, things fall apart. People start bickering and arguing. And I say all along, women in this era, as we are working to shift the energy around patriarchy and create a new world, we need to get really familiar with the energy of Eris and recognize that if we are going to bring change, give birth to change, we have to be able to walk with chaos and not be afraid to throw apples into the party, or throw firecrackers, throw monkey wrenches, spanners into the works, whatever it takes. And that is about showing up. Now, Eris can be devious. She didn't walk into the party and say, y'all didn't invite me. Here is the apple. I'm throwing trouble in. I get the picture. She was on the outskirts and she just sort of tossed it in through the window. Pallas Athene says, apply your intellectual intelligence and your emotional intelligence to the chaos that comes when you show up. When you take up space, when you use your voice, when you speak the truth, when you bend the rules, break the rules, ignore the rules, tell people there are no rules, when you lay down boundaries, when you say no more of this, Pallas Athene is saying, stand firm, know who you are, have your arguments ready, have your facts straight, and then use them to tear shit up. So she and Eris right now are in cahoots at this full moon. And this is creative energy. If you are making something new, you've got to break things. The paint has to come out of the tube. You have to make a mess. You have to make a bunch of ugly stuff that's going to get thrown on the fire before the new stuff that you say, oh my God, this is a work of genius. trial and error, chaos, creative chaos. That is what we have in the world right now. And if we can see some of the terrifying things and the enraging things and outrageous things as stirring up fertile ground for creative chaos, then perhaps we can work with the energy. We don't have to love what we know is wrong, but recognize the opportunity in the energy. That's tough. It's hard. I can sit here and talk to you like this because the cosmic crone is whispering in my ear and telling me all kinds of smart stuff that when I walk away from here, I'm going to be an ordinary mortal and I'm not going to want to do it. But she'll keep calling me, and step by step, bit by bit, I'll do my part, because we all will. We all are. And what is our part? Well, there's fascinating, it's close to a, is it a triple conjunction? I'm looking here, I'm counting. No, well, it's close. The planet Albion and the planet Uranus have been dancing together, retrograding and conjuncting back and forth with each other all through since the last half of Aries, a couple of years. And they're still doing it, but it's coming to an end. So this planet Albion, he used to be called QB1, but then he got a real name. But he still means, he was the first trans-Pluto object discovered out beyond Pluto, which meant that, oh my gosh, we thought Pluto was the end. We knew there was an Oort cloud where the comets came from, but we didn't know there were other planets. And there are tons of planets out there, and they have all kinds of orbits, erratic orbits, and it can take them 1,000 or 5,000 years to go around the sun. It's crazy out there. And Albion was the one who said, it's a whole new world. Hello. And so we call him the thresholder. And he speaks to people whose role in life is birth, death, and orgasm, sex. People, midwives and doulas who help people be born, oncologists and hospice workers who help people die, and in the middle, the ones who teach people about life and life force, sexual healers, tantric healers, priestesses of the divine feminine. That would be me. That's my role. It's part of what I do with astrology is bring some of that information through. So Albion is there, and he's in Taurus, still dancing with Uranus, and he's got Mercury with him. Mercury is sending the message. He's taking the memo from Albion that we are crossing a threshold. And he's sending it out with this full moon. He's sending out the news. So get the memo. What threshold have you been dancing around? This is true for every last one of us. And it could be something relatively simple, like the thing that I'm procrastinating about doing that is going to change things, like getting the book written or the painting finished or the house ready to go on the market, or to decide that you're going to do a big event, a big ceremony. My friend is chiefing a sun moon dance this weekend, and so there are people who have crossed a threshold by deciding they're going to dance. They're going to go into that dance arbor for 4 days and do a living, breathing, embodied prayer a deep ritual. And that whole dance is, they've already crossed a threshold of the threshold, but the dance itself is a threshold, and they will come out changed people. And I know this because I have done it. It's part of my sacred path. And so there are those kinds of thresholds, and then there are huge ones like having a baby, moving country. Maybe it's helping someone die, helping someone be born, recognizing your purpose in life and making the necessary changes. So many thresholds. What threshold are you? We do this because thanks to Neptune, we can't see what's on the other side. All we can see is there's a line, there's a door. I think I can see what I want. I always have a vision of a hole in the hedge, a gap in the hedge, and there's this beautiful sunlit field, and maybe there's flowers and it's green and there's blue sky and puffy clouds, but it's like, well, what's in there? What's over there? I want to go over there. I love what's over there. But all I can see is what's through the door. We don't really get to stick our head in and look around and say, oh, bear, oh, monster, oh, big hole, oh, ugly, polluted city. No. Crossing the threshold is always a leap of faith. It always changes our bodies, our minds, our spirits. I've heard it said that the reason when you walk from one room into another and forget why you went into the room is because you've crossed a threshold into another reality, and the reality of the previous room and that thing you thought you needed does not exist anymore. So we have to go back to that reality and stand there and say, now, what was I wanting again? Oh yeah, that. And then we work really hard to hold that in our minds while we cross the threshold again, find the thing, and come back to this. That's kind of crazy, but you know, reality is fluid like that. And that can feel like chaos. So becoming expert at Eris helps us cope with reality. And those folks who recognize that the feminine brings chaos, she is a master of chaos, and says, therefore she must be controlled and restrained. They don't get it. They would destroy the world trying to control chaos. And at the same time, chaos squeezes out through the seams and under the box. You know, you cannot hold the chaos. So if you need to control chaos, well, you don't control it. You just know how to dance with it and create with it. And the feminine is the mistress of that, regardless of what kind of body you have. So what else is happening here? This full moon is definitely about crossing the threshold. And when we cross this threshold, we are opening up the space to a new portal because we are entering eclipse season. New moon on April 30th is a partial solar eclipse. The full moon 2 weeks later is a lunar eclipse. And the new moon, the new moon, April 30th, Venus is catching up to Jupiter. So Jupiter continues these conjunctions in Pisces. Jupiter is expanding everything in Pisces and is bringing us a spiritual awakening. Really, this is, I say, whatever you have to do. You need to blindfold yourself? Do you need to hold your nose? Do you need to grab the hands of people and we'll jump through together? Cross the threshold. And there will be more just on the other side because these eclipses are huge. And oh, by the way, there is another threshold being crossed. I just looked her up. Black Moon Lilith is at 2953 Gemini. She is 7 degrees away from stepping into Cancer. And on the full moon, she will be at 012 Cancer. And so I think that crossover will happen sometime Friday. It could be tomorrow night. I didn't look it up exactly. I just know that she has one foot in the air, ready to step over into a whole new avatar of the divine feminine. She is going to be, in some ways, she's going to be unrecognizable. And I talked a lot about this on Monday, so you can scroll down and find that if you'd like to hear what I have to say. But it's very interesting that that Ceres is following Black Moon Lilith. She's following her through Gemini, and she will catch up with her in Cancer, because Black Moon Lilith is activating the demonic mother avatar, the demonized mother. Also, the fierce mother, the don't fuck with me mother, the mother that will rip apart anyone who threatens her children. We have a lot to learn. Mothering has been domesticated. Mothering has been co-opted and commodified by patriarchy. Lilith is going to show us how to rewild mothering. And that's incredibly creative, because not all of us are giving birth to babies. Some of us are past that moment, some of us are making different choices, but we all have a responsibility for the generations that are coming, and that means tending to the earth and creating governments, environments, communities of social justice and equality and opportunity and peace. God damn it, peace. Yeah, Black Moon Lilith. We are awake to her as we never have been before. She was, 9 years ago, she was in Cancer. Where were we? Where was I? I wasn't doing astrology yet. I didn't know she existed. Around that time is when Lilith first came to me, but it was a couple of years later before I picked up astrology, because I discovered that the astrologers were the ones who knew Lilith, and if I wanted to know Lilith, I would need to study astrology. Oh my goodness, people. Have a blessed full moon. I love daytime full moons because that means we have full moon the night before and the night after. However, here in Maine, it's going to be raining, so maybe Sunday night I'll get to see the moon. Meanwhile, it would be my honor to work up your divine feminine astrology chart. And if you have been itching to have your chart read and you really want to see what Lilith in Cancer and Jupiter conjuncting Neptune and Venus and all these eclipses that are happening in Taurus and Scorpio, hit me up. I'll put the link where you can reserve yours in the comments. And this summer, the Cosmic Crone is nudging me to raise my rates, so now is a really good time. Blessed full moon, I love you.